away we go. Hello? Hello? Oh, look at that button there. Hello, everyone. Let's hope. Okay. Hope everyone's doing good. I will send out the tweet. I'm going to restart the music. Just because I think you only got a little bit of it. Let's do that. The only reason I play it, because I notice when I watch it later, it records my beginning part. Oh, I'm getting a Janet Jackson tour. Maybe I should check that out. Okay, anyway. Hello. Hello. Sorry. I need to do a post. Hello to Purple Goop, Cornbread, Sinram, Rams the Artist. Dan is here. Hello. Nathaniel Foga, Ashley R. Hello, Ashley R. Gary, Super Dusky, K Master, Zane Powers. Okay, put for another 20 minutes. No, you can just come. Don't worry. And everybody, all the Cornbread. If I said Cornbread, I think I said Austin Cornbread. Gary Toulouse is here. Everybody's here. Is the music still going? It is not still going. Can we still? I guess people can hear me. Oh, I don't have my speakers on. You can just come. Don't worry. And oh, okay. Anyway, hey, Will is here. A guy named Crystal is here. Jordan Salaflo, Rocket Lomax. Lobax. All right, we got a good crowd. I'm sort of glad we did this on a Friday. Chan Talks Movies. Toulouse. Do you want to be on the show? Here, well, first of all, let's switch over. We're in the classic location, as you can see. Toulouse, you want to be on the show? I don't speak cat. Was that a no? He's thinking about it. He does like the intention, I can tell. Toulouse is my orange cat. Hello, Bloxy. Oh, I'm sorry about your dog, Super Dusky. And I'm sorry, Austin, about what I saw earlier. About what you went through. Whoa, Chan talks more movies. Holy crap, dude. I'm sorry. That sucks. I hope you're doing well. It's cool. I do have a bunch of I used the cat translator from Garfield. Nice one. I do have a bunch of newsy type stuff about the show and stuff, but before I get into all that, I have to this small talk segment, as I always call it, has a bunch of this is a jam-packed small talk segment, and it's been a bit of a crazy. Let's move the mic in. Sorry if you hear some noise there. There we go. Been a crazy stressful week. Wife's been working a lot. Some days were a little stressful. I'm sort of glad we're doing the show later because we watched Some Like It Hot last night. I think we both fell asleep through parts of it. So I was like, I think I needed a day to, I don't know. So early in the week, it was a little intense, just getting everything done. But, you get through it and we're here just with everyone working and all that. I'm trying to think, son's still watching Transformers. That's fun. A lot of Dora, obviously. We all saw Inside Out 2 for Father's Day. That review hopefully will be out tomorrow. But that was a cool Father's Day thing to do. I have noticed, if you look at the Pixar releases, they always come out around Father's Day. And I'm wondering... I guess it's a good weekend and it worked out. We'll talk more about the Inside Out 2 box office and how this time of year definitely worked out for it. But, yeah, I'm trying to think if I saw anything cool. I will say it's not coming out till next week. But the other movie I watched on Father's Day was I saw the TV Glow. And I'm not going to get it because the review gets into that. You don't need to hear me say it twice. But I did have an interesting experience with that movie. But I also watched it twice in a week, so that I don't want to tell you my verdict, but I think that sort of hints the direction I'm leaning in. But I did kind of go through a bit of an I saw the TV Globe session. I realized I need to back away so I can do, all the other things I want to work on. But, man, We'll see. I'm not against Transformers Earthspark, and we do actually plan on seeing the Transformers, the new one, the movie. But he's been really into just G1, the first show. But there's so much going on in that. I know a lot of people just show their kids that, and not just because it's what they grew up on. It's because it is like, if you watch it, literally so much happens that by the end of the episode you're like, wait, what just hit me? It is a lot. So I get like why kids were so transfixed by those shows, because I almost want to do a short or TikTok-y thing of an impression of a script of an episode, because it is like wild, the amount of stuff. But there's one where like, I think we have like one part left where like Megatron brings the Earth like Cybertron close to the Earth and messes up the whole Earth and has like human slaves and all that. That one's real nuts, and we're like watching that one, and I'm like, this is an insane episode, 2-parter. Anyway, I will check out Earthspark. We have Paramount Plus, is basically the thing I pay for to watch Dora on. That seems to be what it's mainly used for. That every now and then I'm like, oh, there's a Willie Nelson doc. Oh, there's this, but like it's mainly so we get to watch Dora on demand, I guess. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Sorry. If you didn't check, the other things were the segments are going to be Daffy and Wackyland, and I'm going to do we're going to film, I guess, sort of what's going to become a short TikTok-y thing for about King Kong and the Empire State Building, because I want to do that, and I thought you guys can watch me do that. I guess those will be the segments tonight. Okay, the videos that came out this week, I know it seems like I did some weird stuff, I did some different stuff, but to explain it, obviously I had if I'm remembering this correctly, I had the Garfield video with my kids, I had the Relative, which is an indie film, which is a cool indie film, you should check that out, and I know the director is actually going to be on my friend Matt's podcast. That's been announced, it's not, so I can say that, but he... when that goes out, I will be posting that as well, but I very much recommend Relative. As well as, I did, some of the shorts might seem random, but the one of the Princess Peach advertisement was more just because that's an ad my kids loved looking at, and I was like, I want to kind of preserve this memory, because it was always fun, like, when we would walk somewhere, we'd stop and, like, look at the 3D hologram thing. And I knew like people would dig it, but I was also like, I kind of want to preserve it because like it'll be gone, and I don't know, it was like a fun memory. And I filmed it, and literally like the reason I posted it this week is because it was gone, and I was like, okay, well now I feel like, sorry, Bloxy. Oh, I don't like that. I already own this item. Maybe refresh or close the browser, possibly. But I'm sorry if it's doing that. Apologies. Okay, Austin says, same here, crazy bummer week, a lot of work, thank you for the DVD and letter, best part of the week. Okay, so Austin won was one of the DVD Patreon DVD giveaway winners, and I've been trying to mail Austin stuff like all last year. It kept failing, like it never worked out, and so this was like a major accomplishment for both me and Austin. The energy drink tonight is this thing called, hold on, let me get my sorry, Bloxy, about that. Tried 3 times. Oh, man. Fucking YouTube. Anyway, this is the thing. It is called the Pacific Punch. I saw it because the can looked nice. I honestly got it because it had a shark on it, and I like seeing a shark. And that's why I got it, and then I didn't actually notice the rest of it. So I'm not a big Monster fan. I'm going to drink to this. Drink to you, Austin. Actually, this is pretty nice. And then we have many thanks for devoting a video to Relative Jim. No problem. Sinram, I think he's a producer on that as well. Cheers to you, Sinram. And cheers for helping make a cool movie. Cheers to you. As you can see, it was also on sale. But I mainly got it because there's a shark. Okay. What was I going to say? Hello, Zodberg. I just hit Godzilla. I'm sorry, Cornbread. Cornbread did guess the energy drink. Congrats to Cornbread there. All right. So the next 2 movie crap lives. I want to announce this now. I would love to have these start at 8:30. But most of the time, there's too much craziness, and it's like impossible for me to start on the time I even do start, to be perfectly honest with you. There's just, we have a family here, people, my wife, and all that stuff, and getting everything done, and everything that needs to be done on top of laundry. It's a miracle I don't just fall over and die or something. But thankfully, I don't. However, these 2 dates are the next 2 shows. I think I could get them because I'm only me and the little guy. He goes to bed early. I'm gonna try. I wrote down 8:30. Let's just say 9, because I realize every time I try to do an early show, it does not work out for me. So we're gonna say 9, not to tempt fate. But it'd be cool to start a show at 9 because I know a lot of you are like, this show starts too late, and I'm sorry about that. So, the next show would be this Wednesday, June 26th. I really want that to start at 8:30. So, I would really like that one. And then the next one would be July 6th, which I also hope to start at 8:30. So if you see me, we're going to be cool. Be like, it could be 8:30 to 9, somewhere in between there. But I'm going to try for that, and I would like for that to happen. So I think it'll be cool. It will not go on for like 4 hours. It'll still be a 2-hour show. It'll just start earlier, basically. But I want to do that. The Wednesday one, there's a chance it might not happen because everyone's going to an outdoor movie. And so if it rains, it won't happen, obviously. So we'll see about that. But definitely July 6th. I will keep you posted. But that is my plan. That's what I would like to happen. I know I shouldn't say my plans on here ever because they always fall apart. But other video stuff was the Hey... movies are cool. My daughter's been saying I should do something that said movies are cool, so that's why I did that. I thought it was just a fun thing. I wanted to see what happened. It was sort of an experiment. Riley's First Date seems to be doing good. Garfield, I don't know. I think I said everything. Superman reactions finally got out. All that stuff. As for throwbacks, we had what was I going to say? But yeah, I don't know. My original idea was to do a bunch of little shorts to say movies are cool and stuff. But I don't know if I'll do another one. We'll see. But it was fun once. Throwbacks, we had Inside Out, the first movie, that review on earlier in the week. And then tomorrow, that will be my review of someone shooting off fireworks already. The Favorite, because there's another Yorgos Lanthimos movie coming to theaters. I didn't do a review of the last one, which I wasn't in love with. The one that Emma Stone won an Oscar for and stuff. And I don't know if I'll review this one. I'm not sure. But if you want to see the last time I did review stuff, which was The Favorite, then you can check that review out. That'll be posted tomorrow there. Also, some other things. Ryan Walterson, who I don't think is here, but he posted, he did a... I'm going to post this in the Discord hopefully tonight, but if he wants to do that, that is cool too. What is fucking YouTube and you're scrolling? He was on the Emperor's New Groove podcast talking about Mark Dindal and stuff like that. I've not gotten to listen to it actually, but they were on that, and you should check that podcast out. He did post on Discord, shows what I know. And then I did do research for the latest Saber Sparks video for Cool World. I sort of did it a long time ago, and then again, and anyway, so Saber, I write these things a while before, but it's a cool video. Check that out. I did do the research, sort of the beginning research of that, and it's cool. You should check that video out if you haven't. I will also be posting that later. I have too many things going on. I think that'll be Sunday or something, but you can go to his channel. I think a few people watch him. I don't know if you've heard that. I actually hate when people make those jokes, so now I hate myself. Anyway, Paul Blart Dunkin' Donuts collaboration when? I think that would be amazing, but Paul Blart is a diabetic, so I don't know if that's... I don't know if that would work. I don't know. But I do work for him. I do Saber Spark stuff regularly. It's just when the videos come out is that's not up to me. I just do the research when I'm supposed to get it in, and then when he puts them out, I have a lot of script. I don't want to go over how many it would, but there's a bunch. Oh, he did give Saber a shout out. I didn't know that, Nathaniel Foga. Thank you for telling me that. Anyway, cheers to Bloxy. Bloxy gets an extra special cheers because I know it took you a while to get the super chat, and I appreciate you doing that for me. I very much appreciate it. Cheers to you. Oh, and I want to say this now. I am going to review King of the Planet of the Apes probably when it gets on digital. I mean, Daniel? What? I'm confused by that. Wait, what was I doing? Oh yeah, I am going to review King of the Planet of the Apes when it gets on demand and stuff. But I also, Daniel the Demon Slayer? What? I'm really confused now. What's going on? Anyway, I'm going to do King of the Planet of the Apes, but I will do a further review of the, I don't know how it'll be, of the kind of, so you don't have to. Nice. Because he's Daniel the Demon Slayer. I see what we did there. There'll be a separate one of the special cut. I don't know if I'll buy that Blu-ray or not, but I really want to see that. So I'm like super curious about that. That's probably one of my favorite things. I'm sorry I forgot his name on Smiling Friends. I apologize. From Smiling Friends. He shouted Saber Smart? Oh, okay. Man, I need to watch this video. I'm glad you eventually got there. Sorry. Okay. Let's actually get into the reasons you're actually here. I'm trying to think if there's anything cool that happened. And some weeks just go by with like a blur. My daughter's watching High School the Musical, the show, the musical or whatever. And I sort of get why people like that. I think it's better than High School Musicals, to be honest with you. I don't know if anyone needed that hot take from me, but I think it is, and Olivia Rodrigo is cool on it. I think that's mainly why, because my daughter likes Olivia Rodrigo. Okay, anyway, sorry, that's like the big media announcement. Is my daughter's watching, which I just keep going, High School, the Musical, the Musical, the Show, the Musical, the Show, the music, and I'll just like name them, and nobody thinks it's funny. No, Crow and Servo would think it's funny, so it's fine. All right. And I guess Chapel Ronan did a Divine, dress up as Divine. That was cool. I'm glad people, at first I was like, I don't know, you're not doing any of the quotes. You're not eating dog shit. What is this? But I'm still glad, like, I'm in every John Waters Divine group there is, or if I'm not, I will join them. And they were all posting about it and really happy. I was like, it's good people are talking about Divine. So, I would have liked to quote, but whatever. Anyway, all right, so this here, and everything I do is supported by you, the fans, either through Super Chats during the show, and I'll drink this amazing Pacific Punch. I said it was Ocean Punch, and you figured it out, because Pacific, whatever. And where I will drink it during the show and answer your... What? I don't know what he's saying. I will drink that and answer your thing or whatever. Or you can support me through the Patreon, which is linked below. We have all sorts of cool things. I'm doing a few DVD giveaways of DVDs I used to own that are now being given away. So my regular show one was shipped off, as well as my old Totoro Blu-ray. All sorts of stuff like that will be going on. I'm going to have 2 different commentary videos this month, as well as the movie review winners video, which will come out soon, which was probably supposed to announce that commentary thing, so it was stupid of me. Postcards, all sorts of cool stuff, and the tier videos, the ones where I go through a year's the top 10 highest grossing movies of the year, and do them on a tier list. That 2011 is going to come out 24 hours earlier on the Patreon. So there's all sorts of cool, as well as any like bigger videos like that. We'll do that. So there's all sorts of exclusive perks if you donate to the Patreon, and it'd be very it would be very appreciated if you are to do so. As well, if you do, and you can't be here and you want to do a super thanks on a video, no one has yet, but if you do, you will get the inaugural energy drink opening thing. If you do that, if you want to do that. And if you do and it doesn't go through or it's weirdness, please let me know. I really don't know. No one's done that yet, so I'd be curious. But that is, you are financially able to do so. If you're not, just liking this video and subscribing, you can find out about all the stuff I'm doing and all that stuff. Helps out, or just watching. If you're just here watching, thank you very much for being here. I really appreciate it. Austin says, I tried Ghost Blue Sour Patch Kids flavor. I like cherry limeade more. You need to try the other flavors. Cheers to you, Austin. I'm kind of like, the only reason the ghost thing is again, you've done it? I didn't know that. Oh, thank you, Super Dusky. I didn't know you did that. Well, cheers to Austin first off. But yeah, the ghost thing is only because it's convenient. I need to not do ghosts for a while, I think. But anyway, cheers to you, Austin. And cheers to you, Super Dusky. I don't know, when did you do this? I'd be curious about that. But cheers to you, possibly? I don't know. Anyway. And if you like the community that is amazing in this chat right here, I'm pointing, just me pointing. Sorry, there's me pointing over here. This is the chat. This is the chat over here. Touching the chat. Sorry, I'm smudging it. Sorry. If you like this community, you should click below on the Discord. It is actually a great Discord. It's the Discord I am the most active in. That's for real, for real. And it has all sorts of cool stuff. They do movie watches. I think they're doing one tomorrow, maybe. Sure. Oh, Five Nights at Freddy's review? I didn't know that. Okay, cool. Thank you, Super Dusky. Anyway. Oh, they're doing Temple of Doom tomorrow. They do movie watches. There's all sorts of cool channels like the Ask Jim channel where I try to answer everyone. I think that's up to date, but maybe not. There's the... Oh, I do have a reveal. Hold on. I do have a reveal. Sorry. It's, I got new playing cards. There's the licensed playing card channel, and I need to put a new post, which is my, Jaws cards. Yay. And they're kind of as crappy as the Back to the Future ones, where it's just random-ass sharks on here. But it works better because they're sharks, and sharks are cool. So that's neat. Anyway, so there will be a new post in that channel for me soon. Not sure when, but soon. Anyway, it's a great community. It's wonderful. Austin and Zane Powers do a great job running it, and I highly recommend you do it. You can go there 24 hours a day, answer the daily question. There was one about 12-ounce mouse, which I didn't participate in because that was bullshit. I should have done that. I still am like, I might reply to that tomorrow. I need to do that one because it's the 19th anniversary of 12-ounce mouse. But anyway, I also have a Instagram, both for personal and for all the reels, a TikTok, a Twitter, which I'm most active on, Tumblr, a Facebook fan page. All of it is linked in the description down below. So I know Focus says, don't betray your true love, Red Bull. You know, I actually, when things were a little crazy, I had a Red Bull this week. I'll tell you that. Cheers to you, Nathaniel Foga. And it was like an apple one, and it was pretty good. Maybe I should do a Red Bull again for the one in July is technically the, I guess it's the 15,000 subscriber stream. So, ooh, should Cornbread get a raspberry flavored or a white cherry? I'm going to say white cherry, but I want everyone else to answer. All right. Oh, it is Summer Solstice Day. Thank you, Steve Meister. All right, let's get into the main thing, and this is probably one of the biggest stories, is what happened with Blade and the article that Hollywood Reporter came out with, revealing what's been going on with the troubled production of Blade, which is yet to be made. I believe Mahershala Ali's lawyer said I've never seen anything like this. This is crazy. We signed this deal in 2019, and nothing's happened since then. And it's kind of hurt him as a actor in terms of the past couple of years because he hasn't gotten to do as much. He's always waiting for this thing that keeps getting delayed. And part of the reason he probably signed on for Jurassic World is he needs to get his sort of stock up because he hasn't gotten to do as much. That's sort of a presumptive thing. It's sort of hinted at in the article. However, in this article, it says people like Mia Goth was going to portray Lilith, which I'm honestly surprised. I was always surprised Mia Goth hasn't done a bigger studio thing at this point. I was sort of wondering, like, because I think she's doing a thing with Del Toro and this, and like, I was like, she's pretty big for somebody who hasn't had their big, like, moment. You know what I mean? Like, it's a little surprising. Like, I think Mika Monroe from It Follows. What is the year difference between It Follows and Independence Day 2? Because that was like her big... God, Independence Day 2. Jesus fucking shit. You know, that would be so bad that, like, on days that there's Independence Day, if you look at a channel, it's like, we're going to play Independence Day 24 hours a day. They'll play it, like, once. It's like nobody would like to joke around about that shit. It's so fucking bad. I wouldn't mind watching it again. Not sober, but I wouldn't mind watching it. Anyway. But yeah, it's kind of interesting, like, all the other indie... Like, Anna Taylor-Joy, like, from The Witch to, like, the chess thing I didn't watch or whatever the fuck. Like, there's, like... I feel like all of those other female horror actresses had already ascended, and it feels interesting Mia Goth. Maybe it's smarter strategy, because she can just do the horror thing and build that up. And then Anyway. Sorry. This is the Mia Goth career stream. Anyway, no, she was apparently cast as Lilith. Coleman Domingo was apparently going to be in it, but he has left. Not Coleman Domingo. Was it Coleman? No, I have Coleman Domingo. Was he in? Hold on. I want to hold on. Hollywood Reporter, Blade. I feel like that might be wrong because I have that written down, but that seems wrong to me somehow. Was it Delroy Lindo in it? Hold on. Jim doesn't like this. Sorry, this is already going out to a good start. Then I'm scrolling through articles. Where? I thought it was... Anyway. What are there? Oh, she remain. Oh, well, at least Mia Goth's still involved. It doesn't even say it on here anymore. Maybe it does, and I'm scrolling through too fast. Oh, Delroy Lindo. Okay. Why did I have that written wrong? Fucking idiot. Anyway, sorry guys. Delroy Lindo. Why did I have Coleman Domingo written down? It's fucking idiotic. I'm just gonna erase that. Delroy Lindo has left the project. But the amount of different writers and screenwriters and stuff that have been attached, but the main things that were interesting is one that was going to be set in the 20s at some point, which is interesting because that is what the Ryan Coogler, Michael B. Jordan vampire thing is, which is now also like started development later and looks like it's going to come to theaters before this. But also I think there's a complete misunderstanding of what. Sorry, I should have led with this part. The complete misunderstanding of what Blade is, because Blade is sort of a genre thing. Thus why Wesley Snipes, who was already established as a action star, could just sort of plug it into his genre filmography. And it was like different, but it wasn't like, oh, there's a Wesley Snipes action thing. You know, they knew they could sell it because of Wesley Snipes. And so to make a Blade movie, you're making a genre picture. You're making like a vampire genre kind of thing. And apparently Mahershala Ali considered this to be his Black Panther, which I just don't think that's Blade, man. Like, I don't have anything against like people thinking they can have another Black Panther moment. I think that's a cool, positive idea, actually. But the thing is like I look at Black Panther like I look at Christopher Reeves's Superman, where that was a generational moment. Like, you talk to the people who are kids or even like older people, like the idea of like the ads, like you'll believe a man can fly and all this stuff. And it's not so much that you believed a man could fly. It's not just that it was a Superman the movie. It was that he made you believe Superman, his performance made you believe him as a movie star. I think Chadwick Boseman, or that Superman could be in a movie and be a movie character. I think Chadwick Boseman did that with Black Panther. I don't know who the next person will be to do that. I don't think Shang-Chi was that exactly. Although that movie, I think, is better than people give it credit for sometimes, although it's not perfect or whatever. But I think Blade, if they understood it as a genre thing, it would work better. But apparently they keep changing strategies, which has been a problem as well. It does seem like they have overwrought what this could be, because like Blade is just not that character. But they don't have a director currently. I heard on a few podcasts people are saying David Leitch, because after the Fall Guy, he's kind of not as big as he was, and he lost the Jurassic Park sequel, prequel, whatever the fuck. He lost that, and he's sort of like knocked down a bit, and it might be a good way for him to get a hit. A lot of people have said if there's a hungry director out there who really just needs a hit, I actually wouldn't. I don't know. I've always thought John McTiernan could use a hit. Maybe that's like the worst idea. But a lot of people said it should be a black director. At this point, I think Marvel's just looking for a director of something. We'll see about that. I just think this whole idea is like they overthought what Blade could be. And I think it's sort of the problem with some of the Marvel stuff, where like things like... I think things like the first Captain Marvel, or even the Eternals, or Black Widow and stuff like that, where they're trying to not do... I think what works for Marvel is like understand how each movie is its own kind of world, its own genre, its own type of movie. And as soon as you start fucking with that too much, it like the Marvel movies don't really work as well. And I do think like some of the best moments of any of them is when they understand they're a specific genre. Their genre isn't just Marvel. It's Marvel mixed with another thing. And I think those like fail at doing that. And like, we're like Captain Marvel, the first one, like didn't understand, like you're supposed to like and understand who she is, and the whole movie she doesn't know who she is, and it's like kind of a mistake. And I think like had you understood that Blade is a cheapo genre thing that shouldn't be over $100 million, the first one, and be gory and cool and stuff. Once you get that, then it works. But it seemed like they were kind of overdoing it. I sort of think they're in a better place now to do a Blade than they were all this time. So in a sense, Mahershala Ali might have dodged a bullet. But it does stink that like he lost some pretty prime earning years, or acting years, or films we could have seen him in because of this nonsense. I think that sucks. I don't know who they should get, honestly. I think if I were them, I would hire a lean action director. Whoever did Ninja Shadow of the Tear, that director, I forget his name, I would honestly call him up. I would find somebody who is hungry to make a breakout. I would not hire a studio gun or somebody who could be doing something else at this point, if you really want to do it. It's also that Mahershala Ali I think he's 50 now, not to be ageist, but you know, it's like, look, I'm 40 myself, and I have to lift things for work and stuff, and I don't love doing it, and I'm sure in 10 years I'm going to love doing it a lot less for both physical reasons and stuff like that. And so I'm sure Mahershala Ali is potentially in better shape than me. If he's not, I'm sorry, Mahershala Ali. Jesus, whoa, dude, what's wrong with you? But it, I think he is in a weird place, because it's like this should have happened by now. But I honestly do feel that had it happened when it did, it would have sucked more. I am optimistic about this stage of Marvel and feel like it probably could work out for him. But he needs a good director. He needs someone hungry. I actually think my honest, real person who I would get is the guy who did the Bronx versus the Vampires versus the Bronx, or the Bronx versus Vampires, Oz Rodriguez. I would have called him up, because he made a good vampire. I love that vampire movie, actually. I think it's a funny movie. It's great about gentrification. Is it the Bronx? I reviewed it. Is it the Bronx versus Vampire? I'm going to look him up. I'll look at it. Is it the Bronx versus Vampires versus the Bronx? Sorry. Vampires versus the Bronx. I would get I believe it's Oz Rodriguez directed it. Osmani Rodriguez. Sorry, on Instagram he's Oz Rodriguez. It's a Netflix movie. Check it out. It's really cool. But it's basically like all the white people who are gentrifying the area are vampires. I think it's like a really cool concept. Actually, I guess I shouldn't, but I think it's really fun. So I would get him to do it, as he can be funny, he can be serious, or Joe Cornish. Sorry, Joe Cornish, who did the kid would be king and Attack the Block. Those would be my. Oh wow, Austin! Did you do that before I said it? Look at Austin! Wow, that's insane. But yeah, Joe Cornish or those would be, or I'm gonna just say Oz Rodriguez, who did Vampire vs. the Bronx. Those would be my two. I think I would go more Oz Rodriguez if it was me. But I think he does a lot of TV stuff, so I don't know. But I think those would be the two. Okay, this is kind of a side thing, but I wanted to bring it up before I go into the Pixar thing, because these are like big segment after big segment. And it is one thing about the Alamo Sony thing. This is not going to go on for 20 minutes. It's a quick thing, but I think it's important. I think I might have mentioned that I thought when Alamo is bought by Sony, they would maybe do stuff with anime, because theatrically anime is like blowing the fuck up right now. Let's be real about this. So, it turns out when Sony was doing the initial press releases, they in fact said one of the things they want to utilize with Alamo is Crunchyroll, which they own. So I would think that we are going to see, I mean, they pretty much said their only real plan right now that's been announced is they want to do something with Crunchyroll and Alamo Drafthouse. Now, I think this is smart for a couple of reasons. One, I mean, there's a financial success to that. Like, there's obviously financial reasons to do that. Like, it makes total sense. But I think also because there aren't the cult movie market and the cult movie idea that Alamo very much sells itself on, which I sort of have always thought like limits it in terms of like the age and the era of the people watching it. But anime is sort of that now. Anime is sort of the cult movie thing, and I think it would make a lot more sense for Alamo to move more in that direction anyway. So I think it's actually sort of a natural progression. But anyway, that was their only real plans. It was announced during that. There's just so much going on. I missed that. But I would say that would be that. All right. Sorry, I wanted to bring that up because I thought it was kind of fascinating. The other thing was, all right, that Batman Cape Crusader, I did not like that teaser because it was just a list of fucking names. And it's cool, like Christina Ricci is Catwoman. I'm like, yeah, I it's her time. Let's let her do it. And like, I was fine with the voice cast and stuff. But that was like an article drop on Hollywood Reporter. Like, that wasn't like Hamish Linkletter. I don't have an issue with him being Batman. I don't have an issue with the voice cast. I was just like, why the fuck am I watching this? Like, I don't. Like, show me some footage. Like, what is this? Like, I thought it sort of stunk. So, I honestly don't have an opinion on that show. Because how could I? I didn't watch anything from it. Like, I have no opinion on it. But I thought that teaser was like, what is... Like, I was honestly like, what is this? It kind of annoyed me because I'm annoyed at this thing. But I literally have not actually seen it. And I was like, I don't like what you've done to my relationship with this show already. Like, what the fuck is this? What was the thing about Two-Face? I must have missed that. But anyway, when there's a real trailer, I'll talk about that and my feelings on the show. And I do actually plan to at least do a reaction to it. Maybe review the first season. We'll see. But I am curious about it. I am, honestly. So we'll see about that one. Now, let's get into Inside Out 2. Because, holy crap, this is a fucking hit if there ever was one. I mean, it's honestly insane how well this movie's doing, and it's just not stopping at all. It's pretty wild. So Inside Out 2 has become a monster hit in ways that I think people don't fully get how big it is, which is that's why sort of I wanted to talk about it. Okay, that's interesting about Two-Face. That he starts out as a corrupt DA who uses his position to help rich criminals. That's interesting, but I think it sort of works a little better with that. I've never seen Cursed, by the way. That sounds... I don't know. So this is the first off, it's the first box office, because we hadn't had a box office that got to over 100 million in a normal weekend. Memorial Day weekend did, but that sort of doesn't count. We haven't had a box office that crossed over 100 million since Easter in total, and this past weekend crossed over 200 million in like total all releases, which is good. But yeah, most weekends this year have been pretty bad. In fact, Memorial Day weekend was one of them. But this one was actually good. When Inside Out 2 came out to 100, this is the actuals. I'm sorry, I know it's Friday, but it was sort of insane that it happened. It's actuals, which got to $154 million, making it one of the highest grossing films of this year. Is it? It's not. It hasn't. Oh, it's number 2 at 255 right now. It will beat Dune Part 2 at 282, so it will be domestically the highest grossing film of the year after this weekend. So yes, it is doing insanely well. It is actually the highest grossing directorial debut of all time, actually. It is the third... It had the biggest... People keep saying it had the biggest animated opening. Apparently, I think that might be internationally, but it does have the second biggest Pixar opening after Incredibles 2. I'm a little surprised like Toy Story 4 isn't as high up there, but whatever. And it's the biggest debut we've had since Barbie. It also, because of, I was saying like it sort of works out for it that these come out on Father's Day, which I really heard that helping with Incredibles 2, because everyone say like, oh, my dad's Mr. Incredible or something. I don't know. And then they saw the movie and they're like, this movie is horrible. It's not horrible, but it's not good. But that worked out because it's a holiday weekend and dads are lazy and they'll be like, let's just go to the movies. So that worked out for it. But also Juneteenth is becoming a big movie-going weekend. In fact, that's when Toy Story 5 is coming out, actually. And what's a better way to celebrate Juneteenth than a movie with not that many black people? But it did good though, right? That's good. They probably did their stuff about Juneteenth after. They're just taking a break, right? Okay. Anyway, I did show kids some videos. If that's anyway, I'm not gonna. But it had a huge opening day. It had the biggest Wednesday. It had the third biggest. Sorry, I want to say this right because this is actually a big deal. It made $30 million on Wednesday. It had the third biggest Wednesday box office that isn't an opening Wednesday, meaning it didn't open on Wednesday. So the other two movies that made more on a Wednesday that didn't open on that day were Star Wars Force Awakens, Star Wars Rise of Skywalker. This was the only one that isn't a Star Wars movie. It's number 3, but they're all Disney, so who fucking cares? My basic point is Inside Out 2 is making shit tons of money. I am surprised because Inside Out is sort of a strange idea of a franchise that it's doing so well, but good for Kelsey Manville or whatever, who directed this. He could probably do what Josh Cooley's doing now. This is just an insane box office take. This is the success story of the year. I still maintain, and I still think, even though we got that thing about Deadpool and Wolverine, it's gonna open to over 200 million. Maybe it will. I'm not saying I'm not trying to be a hater or like I'm not the biggest Deadpool fan, but I'm not trying to say it won't do very well. I think it will, but I still think that I'm still maintaining that I think the 3 highest grossing films of the year will be Inside Out 2, Despicable Me 4, and Moana 2. That's honestly how I think the year will shake out. I don't really see anything breaking that, and I think Deadpool Wolverine could be an obvious number 4, and probably will be in the top. I don't know what would be 4 or 5. I don't know. A lot of people are saying, what if Twisters breaks out? But I'm like, I don't see another movie. I don't know what 5 will be or something like that. But But I think it's like most of these, other than the only Christmas movie that's going to get to that level is Moana 2, in my opinion. But across the boxes, we are seeing like Bad Boys 4 already crossed over 100 million, which is insane. King of the Planet of the Apes rose up actually by 2%. It rose. It's actually not everything else. It's like, compared to last week, you're down 40%, whatever. It actually rose from the previous week by 2%, which is like, why are you putting on digital now? But whatever. And that is at 158 million. We are actually having some box office successes. Lord of the Rings continues to be at 10 and 11. Is it 12 too? When's Return of the King coming to theaters? What the fuck's going on there? But those both are also doing well. And because we're here anyway, let's go down to the bottom of the box office. The film that made the least amount, $359. I'm not. To be clear, I don't think Moana will be good. That's not what I'm talking about here. I think it could be okay and make $1 billion. That's what I'm saying. I'm talking purely box office. I am very concerned about its overall quality. Anyway, the film at the low, it made less than Remembering Gene Wilder, which went up 204%. But here it goes. At the last one, it says the feeling that the time for doing something has passed. A mosaic-style comedy, wow, following the life of a woman as time passed in her long-term casual BDSM relationship, low-level corporate job, and quarrelsome Jewish family. Is this real? This seems like not real. That's a real movie? Like a real movie? Anyway. Yeah, that's the bottom of the... All right, sorry. I was like looking at that. I don't know why. It's just like me. Anyway, Inside Out 2 is doing great. I think the main thing, and a couple people brought this up, and box office people brought this up, and I will bring this up now, is that Pixar overdoes it in terms of the sequels. But I think comparing this to Elemental is completely unfair to Elemental. And completely unfair to all originals. Because Inside Out, although it opened very well, actually, the original, I think they need to prioritize starting, maybe in a sense, when they do the first film, they should either think of, as shitty as this might sound, something that has franchise potential and understand they're making an investment in the future, because they're not going to make $150 million off an original thing. I just don't see that happening presently. You have to let it build, and then like Inside Out built up over this time, and like my kids have watched it, their friends have watched, like everyone's seen that movie and loves that movie, and like how most films work, like because they love the first one, the second one does very well because of the reception of it, and they need to start investing in originals, because like the lesson from this is not, well, okay, the lesson is, I will give Hollywood some credit, the lesson from this is, yes, sequels do very well for Pixar, right? They do very well. They're obviously doing very well. However, at the same time, they need to also think, wait, how did we get to sequel? And it's by making original films. And they need to keep making like original stuff. And I will say, looking at the Pete Docter stuff since last week was a way too much news and stuff. But Pete Docter was prioritizing like the other directors, like the director of Luca and the director of Turning Red, and like bringing them up specifically. And if he's able to build up their directorial careers, like I do think like if you're going to do a Luca 2 or a Turning Red 2, maybe that would work in a sense. I don't know entirely, but maybe you should at least have one of them, maybe, I don't know. I don't want to say like make things to be franchises, but maybe that's in a sense the way to do it, is like every other original is a franchise builder and stuff like that. Because I don't think you could do it with Elemental, but I also never thought Inside Out would get a sequel. So I'm still confused about that. Maybe they'll do a Cars 4. I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest. It's not a bad, financially it's not a bad idea. Critically, I haven't seen Cars 3, and I know that's better. I saw Cars 2 because I had to see it for the tier list thing, and whoa. Look, definitely the worst Pixar. Like, I was like, we know. I was like, I don't know. I'd only seen parts of it because my son watches it, and like watching it as a whole thing, you're like, wow, this is fucking bad. Like, it's like, what happened to was the brain trust take that movie off? What's going on? All right. So we learned about Megalopolis has signed a deal with Lionsgate, which is going to distribute it and is going to come out in I Helped Make the Good Dinosaur? What? I don't understand. Okay. Lionsgate has signed a deal with Francis Ford Coppola, who's going to be the distributor of Megalopolis. It is going to come out on... Why didn't I copy this? In September, at some point. September... Really, guys? We're going to bury this in the article. Oh, okay. This is the second... Where's the... Alright. Megalopolis. I think it's September 27th. Someone already posted that? No, they didn't. I don't look too stupid. So, Megalopolis, Francis Ford Coppola's $120 million thing is going to be distributed by Lionsgate, who actually have been distributed his other movies, who most of Film Twitter ignored and I didn't see. But they do have a relationship with him. They would like to continue it. They are going to be the distributor. However, good dinosaur, nice one. However, they're not paying for marketing, or not paying for most of the marketing. He's paying for most of the marketing, which is like 20. He's spending another $20 million to market it. Now, this works out for Lionsgate, one, because they continue their relationship with Coppola, and two, Coppola had already signed a deal with IMAX, so this is going in IMAX screens, which works out for him, which could work out for the movie. I think the thing that sucks about this deal is that I feel like Coppola should get like a better deal than this. This sort of sucks, but I get the impression that this is the only deal he could get, and I think, you know, he has to spend more money. They're not, like, I feel like they're getting more out of it than he's getting out of it, which I think stinks. However, they did say, and this is the thing you're all wondering, will they have someone come out in the theater and talk to Adam Driver, like the real actor in the theater? And supposedly they are working that out, and that will happen. So look, guys, just start going on those job boards, beefing up those resumes. One of you can do it, all right? Maybe I'll take a shift. I'll do like the night show after I get off work. I could be the guy who talks to Adam Driver. How many lines do we have? That's the real question. Like, what is that like? And then you can say worked with Adam Driver, and who's gonna stop you? Because you worked with him a lot, you know. Technically, you did, but are you allowed to film yourself? Oh my god, I really just want to see what that's like. That's the thing I'm most excited for, is when the guy comes out. I'll wear a stupid outfit too, but yeah, we need to get on this. This is like a job. I mean, this is a good gig. Everyone's talking about their side hustle. What if oh my god, what if you went to the movies with someone, and they get up, and then they do the thing, they sit back down, they're like, what the fuck was that? And you go, oh, this is like my job, don't worry about it. And like, that would be really funny. Oh, some sitcom, please do that. All right, Cineram says, Lionsgate will only put Megalopolis in a limited release because how could they hire an actor to appear in every single theater in person? I mean, did it say limited? I didn't get to be honest, it says, okay, to be clear, Sinram, that is a good question, by the way. I should have looked into that, and I didn't have an answer, and that is a good question. But first off, cheers to you for bringing this fact up, because it is, anyway, cheers to you, Sinram. Thank you for the super chat. No, they said Lionsgate, this is the quote, Lionsgate intends to put the feature on more than 15,000 screens, which would be a wide release. But it seems to me, from what I read, where was it? I read that they were going to put it in there. So, but yeah, they also released the different cuts of Apocalypse Now and like the other weird cuts he's made and stuff. So they want to continue that relationship. But oh, okay, here it is. Sorry. And not just that, whether an actor playing a reporter would show up at screenings to ask questions of Adam Driver's character midway through the movie, as happened at Cannes. The answer to that question, according to sources, is yes, when at all possible. So, I'm telling you, guys, this is a job right here. You can be making money. Let's do it. But yeah, apparently, okay, I knew I read it somewhere. I knew. Sorry. Anyway, so that sounds cool. I'm glad it's getting a wide release. No, Cinerem, thank you for saying. I'm sorry. I don't want to conjure. I'm actually, when you bring it up, like, there's no way. Thank you for making me look that up. I actually like being. That's not a dumb thing. I like it when people make me look that up, because now I feel like I really understand what you're saying, because I feel like someone would have asked me that if you had not. So thank you for that. So this is, well, they're mad. Okay, after this segment, I'm gonna go get Buster, and then we'll do Spaceballs too, I guess. But yeah, this sounds crazy. I just think Lionsgate is getting too much from this, and Coppola should be getting more. But I'm excited for this movie. I actually, if I have the time, I would like to review and talk about One from the Heart, which was an influence on Inside Out, actually, on which Pete Docter said, and actually is why I think Diane Lane is cast as the mom. I think that is sort of a reference to that movie. That is the thing I made up, but she is in that movie and she's in Inside Out, so why not? Basically. But I would like to review One from the Heart before. Because I don't think I ever reviewed any Coppola. Right? But then it's like, the big ones are like, you can't just do The Godfather. Like, that's got to be like a big fucking thing. So, anyway, I'll be right back. I'm going to let Buster out. And then we're going to talk about Spaceballs 2. He is out. Sorry about that. Yes, I feel buzzing. Alright. We have... Maybe we'll go long. I don't know if we'll go long. I don't know if that's how it finished. Funny, she doesn't look Jewish. Alright, so Spaceballs... Spaceballs 2. I don't think anyone likes this. And I think a lot of people liked it before because... Well, okay. So this is supposedly a Spaceballs sequel that's being made with Mel Brooks is producing. Now, Josh Gad is set to star, write, and produce, and the project is in early stages, so it could change, in all fairness to everybody. And he's being kept under wraps. Amazon, I'm assuming, yes, it is an MGM film because Amazon is very much into making as many sequels of the properties they can, because that's how they are now. And they very much want people to come back. I think the thing is, Josh Gad, this is his third reboot project, if I'm correct. That he's tried to get made. He did a Muppets thing, which sounded cool, and I think it sucked that didn't get anywhere. Because Iger was in charge, because the one thing Chapek was good at was liking the Muppets. Like, he's probably the reason we have the Muppet Show on Disney+. Although someone needs to do something with the Muppets. Anyway, however, no one... and then he did Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, which I think best to say is not working out. However, he does have a relationship with Rick Moranis. They did talk a bit, and he did get him to agree to be in the Shrunk movie, so it's like not totally unbelievable if you could get him to do it. But no one's sure if... So it seems like most people believe, because this is directed by the director of Barb and Star, there's a bunch of directors, writers attached, all that stuff, and no one's sure if Josh Gad is playing Bill Pullman and Daphne Zuniga's son, or he's playing Barf Jr. or something. The thing is like, look, I lived through Spaceballs, the cartoon, and that shit was garbage. I actually remember the day when it didn't go to Adult Swim. Everyone thought it was going to Adult Swim. It was on like Fuse, if anyone remembers that. I had so many chances to be in the audience of a Fuse show, and I never did it. And now I regret it, because now it'd be like funny. Does anyone in the chat remember Fuse? Please let me know. Like, I actually just want to know. So that was like, when I did college radio, and it was like, I first got like my first cable thing. I was like, man, Fuse has music videos. And I quickly went like, yeah, I don't know. Fuse has music videos. Fuse has never... I think I had a crush on the metal girl. Anyway, the rest of it, I just think this is a bad idea. I didn't mind History of the World Part 2 or whatever. That was fine. But I think like, the thing with Spaceballs is, if they were like Spaceballs, the Schwartz Awakens or something, like they were like, this is going to be a parody specifically of the sequels, or, you know, something like that, I think that would have been cool. Or if they said this is Spaceballs, the search for more money. I just don't think it, like, I think in a sense, yes, because it is kind of the Mel Brooks thing that most people know. But I just don't... I think, like, Star Wars is kind of tainted at this point. If you've noticed on Twitter.com this past week, it's such a tainted brand that it's really hard to just do a parody. And I also think, like, Josh Gad, his version of the 80s is just, like, not where we're at with that stuff anymore. It's like I get that he probably likes that show, The Goldbergs, like, a lot. And, like, I like the 80s stuff. I like all those classics too, man. But, like, we need to, like, it's just, like, too much sometimes. I just don't. Anyway, Ramsey R said, who is this? Oh, Cornbread said, Jim, what's the title? Spaceballs. This is not a super chat, but it was funny. Spaceballs 2, title you like. Spaceballs 2, The Search for Money. Spaceballs 3, The Search for Spaceballs 2. I like that one. I don't. Oh, Izzy's here. Hey, Izzy, how's it going? I just don't think it. I think it's a dumb idea. I don't know. Some of these, it's like, I wish they would announce after they have the hook, and the hook to them is like, hey, we're making a new Spaceballs. But I think for the rest of us, like, you need something more. And, like, are you going to do the sequel films? Are you going to talk about what's happened with Star Wars and Disney? Like, are you going to talk about that? Are you going to do that? And I think I just don't see why that would necessarily work. It just doesn't, in my mind, it's not a big it's not a big idea that really works out. I think if you had pitched this when Rise of Skywalker came out, yes, but, you know, I know a couple of people brought up to me at the time, like, will Disney let MGM make, or Amazon really, make Spaceballs merch? And I'm curious how they'll do that this time and how that'll work out. But I hope for Josh Gad's sake, one of these 80s things works out for him. I even think, like, isn't he in a movie that's a remake of an 80s film, like The Wedding? Or is that just Kevin Hart? I forget. Anyway, I sort of hope it works out for him, but I, like, have honestly no interest in this because I've seen a Spaceballs follow-up, and it was that horrible cartoon on Fuse, and that really didn't... That was really bad. Like, if you try to find clips, I don't know where that would even be streaming. Like, what, even Tubi, I think, would reject that garbage. It was really bad. But it's like, yeah, it's like, I don't know, Dan saying, Animation Plus. I haven't heard about Animation Plus. I wasn't going to talk about it necessarily. I'm sorry. I don't know. It's just like, yeah, Dan saying after Revenge of the Sith, like, yeah, in the 2000s or right after, it's like the moment's sort of not, this is not the Star Wars moment, but at the time when Spaceballs came out, Star Wars had been over for a little bit too. So, I don't know. If you actually have funny enough gags, but I don't know if, like, I think Josh Gad is, like, that funny. I don't know. Zane Power says only Friedberg and Schweitzer Star Wars can save us. That's probably true. Cheers to you, sir. Cheers to you. Okay. I don't know much about Animation Plus, and I sort of saw some of it. So I didn't read any reports on it. But I don't know. My honest opinion about a lot of it is if you're trying to do a new streaming service, that's not really going to work. And the whole idea of doing, not to be, I don't know. I feel like there's too many streaming services as it is. So adding another one, I don't think would work out. But, I think because of Dropout, a lot of smaller people are like, I can be like Dropout. And I want to be like, I don't know if you really can. It's like, I think Dropout's a specific thing. But we'll see. I don't know. Anyway, in other animation news, sorry, Izzy. I wish I had more about that. In other animation news, Adult Swim and Annecy. Even though I talked about Annecy last week, the Adult Swim stuff happened after last week's show. To be clear, I'm not repeating myself. We did get J.G. Quintel's other show. He's an executive producer. Someone did call me on Twitter because I said his other Magic High School show. It is technically not his show. It is someone else's comic that's being made into a show. To be fair to that person, I'm sorry about that. It's called Super Mutant Magic Academy. That is a comic. Where is it? Sorry. Is based on Tamaki. It is Tamaki, but I don't see the person's first name. I'm a little confused about that. Yeah, it seems like a cool show. It seems like something that would be perfect for J.G. Quintel. I think it was cool. Oh, if you want to know, okay, I'll tell you this one Dropout thing. I actually went to school and sort of knew, what's his name? Brendan Mulligan? Let me look up his name because it's been a little bit. But Brendan Mulligan? Is it Lee Mulligan? Brendan Lee Mulligan. Yeah, I went to school with him. I used to hang out with him for a little bit. It was like right when my wife and I were started dating, and I sort of lost touch with him. But yeah, that's actually, I used to know him. I don't think he would remember me now. But yeah, I used to know him for a little bit. He was I always thought he was cool. I always remembered him when I saw he was on College Humor. I checked it out because I was like, oh, cool. He is funny. But anyway, sorry, that's my only story with him. It was like, we would hang out and he was redhead and we were redheads. It was a whole redhead thing. It was talked about how nobody knew the term ginger in America till there was a South Park episode, despite what everyone claims. Anyway, so Super Mutant Magic Academy seems like a really cool show idea. I think J.G. Quintel, who is not super creatively involved, I want to be clear. I'm not upset, but they are right. I did sort of do a clickbaity thing. So, but it seems like a cool show. One thing I learned from this article and the Annecy thing, I don't really care about Anthony Bourdain. I'm not a cooking show guy. He seems fine. I don't get the obsession. However, I finally got the obsession because he has some like show that's based on a thing he made. That's cool. But I did learn that one of his favorite movie was Mind Game, which is a movie I really fucking love a lot. It's actually going to play at a theater near here. I might actually go. It's one of the greatest films. One of my favorite, definitely be on my favorites. I was thinking, why do I never list in my favorite films when I do my imaginary letterbox thing or whatever? But when I learned that, I was like, okay, Anthony Bourdain's cool. Like anyone who says Mind Game, that's a weird animator's movie. That's not like a saying Spirited Away thing to me. Like that's like, you have to be cool to say that one. So Anthony Bourdain, I'll give him. He's finally a cool guy to me because of that. I thought, I was like, okay, respect. That is pretty amazing to me. So adults, where do we have? I think there are other things. Oh, we also got season 2 of Adventures of Superman and Smiling Friends, which seem to be the two hot shows off of here it is, sorry, off of Adult Swim right now, which is kind of cool, but like Adventures of Superman should not be an Adult Swim show. Whatever. We also got new shows, which was Oh My God Yes, a series of extremely relatable circumstances, which seems like it could be fun. I don't know. Ha Ha You Clowns, which is another one. The Anthony Bourdain show, which is Get Jiro. It's based, I guess Anthony Bourdain and Joel Rose created it. We talked about Super Mutant Magic Academy, and the returning shows mainly is Smiling Friends and My Adventures with Superman, which seem to be where the show is going. I didn't see any announcement on Rick and Morty, but I guess not as important. But I'm curious about Adult Swim's future, but with those two and Super Magic Academy, and learning that Anthony Bourdain likes Mind Game, that was all cool. So, anyway, yeah, we're getting new seasons of Smiling Friends, My Adventures Superman. I think all that stuff sounds really cool. I'm excited for what's going to happen with Adult Swim, but yeah, I keep seeing all these people post these like. So I want to ask this because I'm a little confused, because everyone goes like Smiling Friends is going to be the new dispensary thing instead of Rick and Morty. And like in New York, there's like a ton of dispensaries. Although the cops shut a bunch down. One the cops shut down. I was like walking to get Oscar from daycare, and the cops were like, "Excuse me," and then they just all like rammed into this dispensary and shut it down right in front of me. I was like, "Wow, that's intense," because they didn't have a light. There's a lot unlicensed and all that, but the cops always do things so subtly. I've yet to, everyone says it's going to be Smiling Friends. I've yet to see any Smiling Friends in any dispensaries. Is this a joke thing? Do people really see this? Because I'm all for that, but I think it should be Scavenger's Reign. I want to see some Scavenger's Reign murals in the dispensaries. And I would love to see Smiling Friends, but I've yet to see it. I've yet to see it, guys. Like, I haven't seen it. Okay, I keep seeing Rick and Morty. I don't know. Do people still like Rick and Morty? Maybe, how about this? I never do those engagement chatty things, but in all seriousness, I want to know this. How many of you still would watch a new Rick and Morty? In all honesty, just say yes, no, would still watch. I'm just curious where we're at with the Rick and Mortys. But yeah, Adult Swim, it sounds like they're in a better place. It's cool that they have two cool shows that I'm into right now. So yeah. Hell's a Poppin'. I still don't want. Wow, it can exist. Whatever. Wow, how the mighty have fallen. I look like Mick Foley. I assume that's a compliment. All right. Okay. Maybe. Wow, this is not okay. Guy named Crystal's still there. All right, so we learned that Raka Raka, who did Talk to Me recently, have sort of left the Street Fighter movie. What this has to do with, ultimately, is what I was talking about with Jordan Peele. And it's sort of like, if you are an auteur director and your name can make an original movie, why do a franchise film? Why not do the franchise film when like nobody wants you anymore? And you have to. So Raka Raka had the choice of doing Street Fighter or doing an original film with A24 with Sally Hawkins, which I'm assuming that's because I'm assuming she had to choose between Raka Raka and Paddington and picked Raka Raka. But them doing what's called Bring Her Back with A24 seemed to be more important to them. I think that was probably a better move. Their Street Fighter things, like, they are interesting directors, and I like Talk to Me, and I actually liked watching their some of their YouTube stuff seemed a little more interesting than I was surprised by. But I'd much rather see them do an original thing. I think I'm finding it interesting that directors are going like, we need to do more I mean, we need more original voices, and it seems like a lot of these people who can, who are good and marketable at original stuff, are kind of going like, yeah, why don't I just do my own thing? It's like working out for me, and I think like they're like, why don't we just do horror films and stuff? I also think the thing with like horror versus franchise stuff is horror is sort of the backbone of the industry. It's like animation and horror, and then there's like all this other crap between them. That's my impression of all of genre, basically. Um, but I think like there's less pressure on a $20 million movie, and the studio's like, do you have like the stabby stab or the bloody blood, and like there's the scary thing in it, and they're like, yeah, totally. I'm like, all right, it's just like keep doing that. I don't leave me alone. And like if you do Street Fighter, they're like, well, did he say all you can a lot or something? And they're like, oh, he only says it 2 times ago. He must say it 5 times. And you're like, this sucks. So I sort of think, it's a better thing to be. All right, so we keep hearing about Tintin 2, and we learn that apparently, believe it or not, you guys, Tintin 2 is still being worked on. I like Tintin. I'm actually considering showing it to my kids soon. For reasons that are unrelated to this. But I'm just like, look, okay, sure, maybe, but I'm also like, I would love it to happen, but I just don't. It's been way too long. I don't know what Peter Jackson's doing. I know everybody's like wants him to do something after the Hobbit films, but he just sort of does documentaries. I just don't see him doing this, but it's cute that people still pretend. So we learned this week. This is what you've been waiting for. That Tubi is the greatest streaming service of all time, which shocks literally nobody. I think, I did have like one of my bigger tweets in a bit by just saying context, the economy is terrible and Tubi is free. But I also think part of it is, the endless scroll of a streaming service is a lot more fun in the 52 card pickup selection that is Tubi. It is just like it's more fun to go through. Like I have fun going through Tubi. I don't really have fun scrolling through the other ones. It's like, oh, I'm in the Star Wars section. What's gonna be here? Oh, cool, Star Wars. Like it's very like curated, and Tubi is like, look, I just threw up. Here are movies. I don't know. Leave me alone. But I imagine Tommy Tubi walked into work. He's like, look who's the greatest. Fucking Tommy Tubi's coming in, you guys. I'm gonna fucking look. Nobody gonna stop me, man. I'll just be selecting movies. Let's get this. I don't know. It was on for a season on MTV, on NBC. Sorry, in 1978. Boom, you're on the service. Nobody wants you. Oh man, you did miss the Blade Talk and Blood Tea. I'm sorry about that. Let's do a hit of my vape and talk about 80 slashes. We bought all the ones nobody wants. It's Thursday the 12th up in here. But I imagine Tubi is I don't know. I think part of it is Tubi has quick genre stuff. It's low commitment, but it's fucking free, dude. Like I just don't understand when people are like so shocked that that Tubi is doing as well. But I knew Tubi was doing well because in 2020 I actually had to go in during 2020 towards the end of it, and I walked through Times Square, and like Times Square was empty, but it was covered in Tubi ads, and I was like, oh shit, free streaming is gonna win this, isn't it? And what's hilarious, especially when Tubi and Pluto really took off, which was during the pandemic, what I find really funny is that Peacock was supposed to be those things, and they kind of scaled it back. Like their idea was a Tubi or a Pluto, but with a professional, launching with a professional ad team, which I thought was an insane one, and it was going to change the whole deal with digital marketing, and they sort of like walked that back, which I thought was a stupid ass idea because they basically let 2 other companies do what they had announced, which is pretty insane. Now Tubi is owned by Fox, and not you go not before you go, Plex has too many ads? I don't know what you're talking about. I see. I use Plex through my drive, so I don't know. Anyway, but Tubi, yeah, Tubi is owned by Fox, but not the Fox that Disney owns. The Fox that still exists. So that is the evil part of it. But I think it's cool that people are checking out more obscure stuff, more genre stuff. It also features a lot more films made before 1990, which is a serious issue for Netflix specifically. Which I also think is like one of the things I never understood about streaming is when they started cutting back on stuff because as someone who, makes reviews of a bunch of stuff, sometimes a review of something really obscure will work out for you in views because it has a fan base and they sort of, in a sense, I would say, like they sort of have to deal with you because you're the only thing doing it, And I think Tubi has figured out that it's like, I know I do the jokey voice with Tommy Tubi, but if like you have that one slasher franchise that nobody cares about but Tubi, guess what? That Facebook group is going to post, hey guys, guess what? You can watch them all on Tubi. And maybe that Facebook group people don't go every day, but they'll check it out and go, oh shit, Tubi. And you get all these small little pockets. And Netflix used to be involved in that. And then they sort of stopped. But I think Tubi's doing really well because they are smart enough to understand that. But they also understand like it's low stakes and you can get drunk and laugh and stuff. It is not a coincidence that Tubi is surging the way it is and Netflix is pushing that Paris shark movie or whatever, which I do actually sort of want to see, to be honest with you. I just haven't. Maybe I'll watch that Sunday. Maybe I'll do a review of it. I don't know. But I think it is like people still want to search and find stuff, and I think that is something that Netflix and Max and Paramount Plus and all of them had for a little bit, but has gone away. And I think like because I seriously remember, and this isn't even a joke or anything. I remember like if you went to the video store to get movies for your family and they're like get the new release, oftentimes like there would be times you get lucky and you get the new release. But a lot of times if you didn't, you had to find a movie. Like you're watching a movie tonight, figure it out, bitch. And like I do think that helped people watch older films, but I think like people do still do stuff like that where they're like, okay, everyone, especially when you're debating on a movie to watch with a family, it's hard because of things like that. So I just think, it also has, I think the creator of Aqua Teen has like a pasta apocalypse or something Ryan told me about once, and I still haven't watched it. I've been meaning to. I think it's called Pasta Apocalypse, something like that. Anyway, Tommy Tubi is doing good. I heard Tubi is still not profitable, but that Tommy doesn't work in accounting. That's accounting's fucking fault. That's not Tommy's fault. Tommy is a genius. Clearly, it is all Tommy Tubi. His assistant is like, Tommy just fell asleep. He took too much of his vape and whatever's in that cup, and he's taking a nap, and it's 10 a.m., but the article came out that they're the greatest, so who gives a shit? Good night, Ramsey the artist. Have a good day at work tomorrow. Anyway, Tubi is fucking rolling, and it's amazing. In other news, the new Crow movie is horrible and unwatchable, which is amazing that it has two things going for it like that. Now, first, you're like, Jim, are you being cynical? No, look, I have seen fucking Crow sequels, all right? I've seen the second one, The City of the Angels, and I don't remember it at all. And it had the guy who looked like Brandon Lee but wasn't Brandon Lee. I don't know his name. Maybe he was French. I don't remember. And I saw the third one once when I was in high school, and I was sort of messed up, and it was 2 a.m. And I don't remember liking it. And that's obviously a great review. My point is, and I watched some of that show, which was also not good. My point being is, if this was a good Crow movie, that would upset the balance of the entire Crow franchise. You're telling me you're going to make a good Crow movie in 2024? Come on. The fact that this is both horrible and unwatchable. I mean, like, what if this was, hear me out, what if the Crow movie, if the third one, I clearly don't remember the third Crow movie very well. But what if this Crow movie was like bad, but not like that bad? That's not fun. That's like the RoboCop remake. I have to hear people say like, hey guys, maybe it's not that bad. And I go unfollow forever. Like the Wild Wild West reimagining. Oh my God, what is wrong with people? But the fact that people are this against the Crow franchise. Like, the first reaction, according to Screen Geek, is horrible, unwatchable. If hypothetically, don't waste your money. Can't believe it's so much worse than the original. It is, and don't. Wow. Yeah, I just think it's like, of course it's going to be bad. Of course. But I like that it is horribly bad. No, I didn't actually follow Someone Forever. Maybe I did. I don't know. Maybe I don't remember. But it is amazing that The Crow is that potentially horrible that it's not even like, it's just, I don't know, it just looks like a bad John Wick rehash, to be totally fucking honest with you. I think it could have been something, but we learned this today that the Jim Henson Company is selling the Hollywood lot that is made famous by Chaplin. They're mainly doing it because of space issues. This brings to mind a lot of people in LA, which is the whole LA thing, but that they should be making some of these old backlots into historic places, which I actually agree with. It was where Chaplin worked, and you see Kermit on the top wearing kind of a Chaplin outfit, which is really cool. I think it is it's a shame. It seems like the company just wants to get everyone in the same place, and it's less about money necessarily and stuff, but I hope it works out for them. It just stinks, and I do think the problem with movie history and Hollywood history is it often just gets, like, the places and stuff gets forgotten. Like, I think people, like, I just learned, I work near Times Square, and I learned that where the M&M store is where the Fleischer Brothers studio was. Didn't know that till recently. Like, there's a lot of these major things that they don't preserve at all, and it stinks. And it stinks as an art form that nobody cares. Like, it barely gets a plaque sometimes. But I don't know. I hope it's preserved in some way, or whoever buys it keeps up its legacy. Where am I in this? Oh, man. Okay, I went long on too many things, so we might cut some things because it is getting a little late, and I have gone on. So, but I want to talk about these next two, and then maybe trailers, and then we'll do more about that. I don't know how many of you know the film Possession, or The Possession, with Isabella Adjani, who, if you ask me, who the most beautiful woman in all of film history is, would be her, because my wife hasn't been in any movies, guys, so she doesn't count. But Isabella Adjani, sorry, that was maybe weird, that she gets my vote, and I think she's one of the greatest film actors of all time. But her and Sam Neill were in it. It's a kind of classic, insane 80s cult movie. Robert Pattinson is trying to remake it. A lot of people think this is just a development thing. I think we are doing Blair Witch after this, don't worry. I think it is a fucking terrible idea. I know he's Robert Pattinson. He does art house stuff. Did you say Blair Witch? Yes. We are doing it's literally after this. Don't worry. I was doing horror things, and I think it's a bad idea. I don't think he could really remake it. If he has a different take on it, or he wants to be like a follow-up sort of thing, I actually could sort of see that. But I just don't think... I know Possession can fall into the A24 kind of art horror shit, but I also think no. Possession is a crazy ride of a movie. I highly recommend it. It's a wonderful film. But I to me, it's like you can't remake that kind of... It has a sort of magic to it that you're not going to replace. It's just not happening. Okay, I'm just going to drink some water. Good night, Dan. Thank you for being here, man. I'm glad to see you. All right, so... So the Blair Witch cast, the original cast, which would be Heather, Josh, and other guy, sorry, have come out and are trying to get their share of the profits from the film, because they didn't really get any. That would be Heather Donahue, Michael C. Williams, and Joshua Leonard. This did come out last week, but it came out during all the craziness. I didn't want to get into it, but I'll get into this now. I think the thing with this is, yes, they weren't part of SAG. They should get residuals. But as Heather pointed out in this article, the other thing is like, well, one, they're all having major financial troubles, which I don't think is fair. They aren't getting residuals, which they should get. But they also, and again, I will say this with this movie a million times, they not only did star in this film, and their images are being used to make merchandise and sell the film and put on T-shirts and put on, various merch, particularly Heather Donahue. And I do believe, actually, and same with, like, the fucking Nirvana baby, like, just give them a percentage. Like, just, like, come on. Like, it's like, so they have to look at you, make money off their fucking face. Like, I understand everyone's like, well, I've read people go, well, they signed the deal. And I'm like, I just don't think, I just don't agree with that. I'm sorry. Like, they were young, they got screwed over. And no one, at the time, it was a small indie movie that might have made $3 million. That was, like, sort of the idea at the beginning. And it blew past that very quickly. Like, insanely quickly, even for the time. But what they're asking is SAG to investigate it and try to get them residuals. Also getting percentage of, like, sequels and stuff like that. Because, yeah, again, they were not only just there in acting. There was no script. They improv all of it. And they did the camera work. All the camera work is them. Those three. There is not a DP somewhere. It is just them. So most of the movie, most of the footage is them. The directors, and I've said this before, and I will say it again, the main cost of that film was a GPS system, and those guys chilled it like an Applebee's or something. It might not have been an Applebee's, but they did admit to that, and I've read those articles many times when I was a kid. They hung out in a bar, waited till it was night, and then would fuck with them, and mostly left them alone. Now, was it a smart idea how to make that movie? Absolutely. I don't think that movie would have worked without them doing that, but I think if you look at how integral they are to making the film, first off, they should have gotten director-writer credits. And second off, which actually I would be okay with them changing it. I saw they changed the Wachowskis' Bound, and it's no longer they're dead named in the films. Obviously, you have like a VHS copy, it will, because you can't change that. But apparently, digitally they did. I think that should be changed also. But I think they deserve part of it, and they really got involved when they announced a new Blair Witch film. I don't think you could make a new Blair Witch film. I think that's not going to work necessarily. The third one sort of showed that. But I do think they should get money because it is an integral film. These horror films make a ton of money every year. Like The Shining's still making in money. Halloween's still raking in money. I do think some reporters are like, oh, they're asking for like all this, like acting like every horror reboot will make Halloween money. That's not what they're asking. They're asking for just like residuals and like percentages and like things off of what already exists. I think they're prepping for any sort of new income from a newer film, which is totally fine under that, but that hasn't even happened. I think they just want like what money is being earned and what they are owed rather than what they're getting, which is like jack shit, which I don't think is fair. So I hope it was just changed for the Criterion release of Bound? Oh, okay. I had heard differently, but thank you for clarifying that, Cornbread. I hope it does work out for them. They were kind of a bigger deal for me like 25 years ago, and I still I think Heather Donahue was in It's Always Sunny, which I was like, anytime I see her or any of them in anything, I'm like, oh, it's them. Like I was so obsessed with that film, and there was so much merch. Like there was a book, there was a comic, there were sci-fi specials, there was a lot of things to it that generated income, and I hope they're able to get something from it. I think they should. So I hope it works out for them. I haven't heard of anything happening yet in the past week. It sounds like SAG is trying to work with, I believe it's Lionsgate, because it was originally Artisan, and obviously Artisan doesn't exist anymore. But we'll see what happens. It was her last acting job? Oh, man. I keep telling myself I'm going to watch Boys and Girls just because she was in it. So, all right, so we're going to talk about trailers. Now, I know you're excited. I have watched the Maxine trailer. And it was a good trailer. I'm excited. I will review Pearl before I review Maxine. I do plan on doing that. But it looked fun. It was like a fun trailer. The blood on your hands thing was fun. It got me hyped for it. It looks more like a fun slasher than I expected, but I think Ty West, like if you look at X, that was very much like a fun. It was like a fun audience slasher, so I totally get it. There with Maxine, I saw the trailer for Smile 2. That's another one where I should. I've seen the original. I should review it. I really like the original Smile. There's some things I would have changed about it, but her being a pop star who's experienced the kind of smile curse is a totally unique kind of idea. Actually, I kind of like the idea of like a pop star and the obsession and people behind you. I think is cool, and then it's a modern pop star. I am kind of curious between this and the M. Night film Trapped, like our current obsession, or not obsession, but the current 2024 idea of doing horror with pop stars. That's kind of interesting. I'm curious why. I'm sure it's unrelated, but it's just interesting that we're having two. I guess that's within like a couple, like 2 months of each other or something. So that's, I'm not sure, maybe because of the prominence of like Taylor Swift and stuff like that. Maybe, I don't know, but it is. I like it as a concept. It's also radically different from the first film, so it's like gives me a reason. Like if they just made Smile, but it's like a different person, that doesn't sound as interesting as Smile with a pop star. We also got the trailer for The Front Room with Brandy. Brandy plays a woman who her and her husband have a newborn, or she's pregnant, and his racist grandmother her husband's racist grandmother comes to live with them, or stepmother or something. It looks cool. It looks like a cool horror movie. Definitely dealing with your in-laws to an extreme case. It's also cool that, like, it's been a bunch of years. I know Brandy's had her own issues between this and Descendants 4. She looks like she's having a comeback, so I hope so. I still listen to Sitting in My Room. That's a great song. And for King of the Planet of the Apes, I mentioned before this, but it is hitting digital or on demand, or however you want to call it, on July 9th. And the DVD or Ultra HD, the 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray and DVD with the cut of them in their motion capture suits will be out on August 27th. So I've seen some people misunderstand the digital and DVD release, and the DVD or the physical media release will have the exclusive cut, and that is at the end of August, whereas just the movie is at the beginning of July. So those are separate things. I have not heard of that cut coming out on July 9th. You have to wait till the end of August, which I think is a smart move, because there's a lot of hype around that cut. So then you'll get a new, basically King of the Planet of the Apes we're going to be hearing about till, I'd say mid-September, the way they're planning this out, which is actually kind of smart. Release-wise, like, I'm very serious about that. So anyway, that exclusive cut, them in the mocap suits without the mocap, end of August. But if you just want to watch the movie on demand or torrent it, which I'm sure is how most people do it, is July 9th. All right, so I want to talk about one thing, and then we'll take a break. I'm just going to do the best of, and then we'll move on. I'm sorry. Until the sun explodes. All right, sorry if this is going long. I didn't think I would go long. I was worried. I put too many stories in here. All right. Okay, this is we're like the fall of man, I guess. Boring. Okay. I wanted to talk about this part. I just found this story. This is actually a 2-week-old story, but because I saw them. They were the comedy group for my college when I was a freshman, which was The Whitest Kids You Know. And so when Trevor Moore died, that sort of, I met him a few times and stuff. He was cool, but it was sad to see him go. I definitely anyway. Apparently, The Whitest Kids You Know are working on a short called Mars, which Trevor Moore started development on, and them and Zach Krieger, who did Barbarian, is doing weapons and stuff like that. It is a big studio director now, but it was originally part of The Whitest Kids You Know. He helped make this short film called Mars. It's about a man searching for himself and escaping a walk down the aisle by volunteering to be on a manned mission to Mars alongside a group of bizarre would-be astronauts and a billionaire funding the mission who matches the hubris of Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. So I wanted to bring that up just because I thought it was interesting. I know that it is not maybe on everyone's radar, but because they meant something to me. Okay, so okay, three things, and I do want to do an Obed thing, which is we'll get to that. The Electric State, which is a $300 million budgeted Netflix film. I think we're going to run long. I'm sorry about that, guys. I hope if you missed this part later, then you have some chances for super chats before the break if you would like to. Sorry if I bring that up. I apologize. It's just life. Which is $300 million. It is based on a graphic novel. It's basically about a girl and her robot kind of go on the run. Millie Bobby Brown is attached, as well as Chris Pratt, who I'm not fully sure if he's the robot or not. That's confusing to me. And Jason Alexander. I don't really have any faith in the Russo brothers, and they annoy the fuck out of me. I don't understand why this has to cost $300 million, but it has a crazy cast. I guarantee you this will dominate the weekend it is out, even if it's like only okay, or boring like The Gray Man. I kind of think if they're able to just do the sci-fi thing and not try to be Christopher McQuarrie, if they're just themselves, it could actually work out. But we'll see about that. There was announced there's going to be an Everybody Hates Chris cartoon. It is not going to have the voices of the kids. They're getting new kids to be voices of it, but the adults will be the same, and Chris Rock will do the voice. That's going to be, I think it's on Comedy Central. It sounds cool. Okay, we'll just run down rumors and then I'll do the obits. Miles Morales, there's rumors that Sony is looking for a Miles Morales casting, and it might actually be more of a Sony thing than a Marvel thing. That's just a rumor. Take that as you will. There's also a rumor that Sean Levy is not going to be doing the Avengers. I don't know where we'll get for confirmation on what's going on with the Avengers movies. But we'll see. I think he probably has a lot more leverage because, one, he produces Stranger Things, which is the biggest show in the world, as well as he's directing a film that might be the biggest live action film. No, I think it will be. I think I can say that Deadpool and Wolverine will probably be the biggest live action film of this year, and so I think he will have a significant amount of leverage. As well as I keep hearing the rumor that I've heard on two different podcasts I've heard around is that it will actually be called the Jurassic Park or Jurassic World franchise will be called Jurassic City. That's the rumor going around. Take that as you will. So, the obit section. 1 second. Sorry. I just need some energy. I know. So, we lost one of the great actors of the 70s and one of the great film actors of all time, Donald Sutherland, this past week. He is I'd say a titan of the industry, a titan of great acting. I mean, you look at everything from, I think I loved him most in Don't Look Now. That's probably my favorite performance in it. I talked about Dress. Sorry. Don't Look Now is probably my favorite. Invasion of the Body Snatchers, MASH, and even JFK. But I think what's interesting was reading about, I think a lot of people talk about, you should talk about this performance, you should talk about that. But I think it is amazing that, one, he got into the Hunger Games books, and two, he wanted to be in it and then was. And it was cool reading about all these people saying, like, the guy from Hunger Games died and stuff like that. And as much as people are like, no, they should remember him from this, they should remember him from that. Like, fuck that, guys. Like, it doesn't matter. They appreciated him. He wanted to be there. He actually really liked doing those movies. And his work gets to be appreciated by a different generation. Like, their parents can appreciate MASH and Don't Look Now. Don't Look Now, I think, is his... I really love Don't Look Now. But, like, I think it is amazing that he was able to do so much in so many different eras in film. And it's like, there's very hard to find an era of film where he didn't do a performance that was amazing or memorable or spellbinding or something like that. Like, you can't. From the 70s, MASH was early 70s, like, all throughout the 70s. I can't think of something from the 80s, but I feel like if I looked, there would be something. JFK, Hunger Games, like, that is an amazing thing. And never got an Oscar nomination, which is bullshit. I think he's a guy who really, he was just a real presence. I think that is one thing that we lose about movie stars and actors now is like you wanted to watch him, you wanted to look after him. He was a great fucking actor. Um. So, this is my show, so I don't know if this is weird or whatever. And I don't know if anyone watching knows who this is. But recently, a friend back in high school died. Her name was Hannah Weissener. We worked on a bunch of stuff that never got finished, basically. She was always cool about working on my dumb high school projects with me. I always thought because she was always like had this kind of cool quality to her, and she was always down to do stuff, and I was really like just hanging out with her and stuff. And she died this past week. I don't know if anyone watching even knows who that is, but I just wanted to add her to this obit section. Unfortunately I don't have any footage or anything from that time, and none of those. There's a lot of projects I started in high school, and it was a mess. But she was always really cool, and I thank her for at least at least trying to make these things, even though if I failed a lot of times. So I don't think we talked in a very long time, but I don't. Obviously, we won't get to talk again. But I wanted to include her in this because there's a lot of people in the arts who sadly, and that community I was a part of then, who have gone away, and that's always sad. But I'm sad to see her go as well, and my condolences go out to her family. I'm sorry if she's actually only always Hannah to me, so I was like, oh, that's her last name. I don't think I even knew it at the time. So anyway, the condolences to her family, to Hannah Weissener. Anyway, I'm sorry to end the obits on a note like that. I wanted to do that. Maybe that's self-serving. I just wanted to include that. Apologies. Anyway, I'm going to use the bathroom. I'm sorry we were running long to everyone. Then we'll talk about Daffy in Wonderland, and then we'll talk about King Kong on the Empire State Building, which is oddly relevant presently right now. So yeah, go to the bathroom real quick. We'll be right back, and then we will talk about Daffy in Wonderland, the first time a Looney Tune has ever been in stop motion, which is pretty cool. Anyway, I will be right back after this. Okay. We are back. It is time. It is time to... Man, somebody left me this crazy comment on my review of Pecker. Let me read it. It's a little wild. I should show my face again. Not open. Just... Okay, hold on. Let me show my face again. Sorry, this is like a wild message here. Okay, someone on my review of Pecker, this just happened during the show actually, said, "Hey Jim, tomorrow I'm making my first trip to Baltimore. I doubt this will happen, but if I see you, I hope it's okay to say hi. You're someone I've been watching since I was 19. Oh, wow. When you were part of the Rough Cuts. Wow. Remember that show that I don't think anyone remembers. I'm 29 years old. Review contest, how long I'm watching you. You gave me an appreciation for John Waters. Oh, cool. Okay, I will respond to that later. Okay. I was like, man, the Rough Cuts. I don't know if you guys remember that. That was a long time ago. Did Buster really... Okay, I'll let him out. Hold on. Let me let Buster out and then we'll review. That's a deep cut. The Rough Cuts is one of the first things post-Knockforce I got recognized by, which was kind of cool. Anyway, I will be right back again. Let me get Buster out. Hold on. Whoa, Sinram found me on the Rough Cuts? Man, I've been meaning to make a video about that whole sort of saga. And then actually I had a recent thing with the Rough Cuts, because it was like me, Chauncey, I think her name was, and the Wisest Wizards. And the Wisest Wizards Twitter account followed me like last week. And I was like looking at it like, is that right? I was also like, why follow me now? Like, I don't... It was just weird. I like that. Oh, good night, Austin. Thank you for being here. Sorry if this is running long. The next one will be earlier, I promise. Anyway, okay. Let's talk about Daffy in Wackyland. Why does it say stupid ass? See, the problem with Google is they correct my shit a lot. All right, Daffy. Okay, so I'm going to talk about Daffy in Wackyland, which is the first stop motion Looney Tunes cartoon. It was made by Max Winston, who made an award-winning short, I Live in the Woods, and worked on Wendell and Wild, and has done storyboards for various different productions, and has tried to work with Pete Braungart on different things. Supposedly, originally when the Looney Tunes were pitched, they wanted to do a few in different styles. I don't think I've seen any of those other ones, unless I'm wrong. But they did make this one. This is played at Annecy last year, and is either going to or will play at the Ottawa Animation Festival. And I keep reading that this was supposed to play in front of Coyote vs. Acme, but I didn't see that anywhere official, so I think that might just be a rumor. But this is an odd one where Daffy is in the desert. He is looking for food. He sees a dodo egg. He chases the dodo into Wackyland, which is sort of this weird, surreal Looney Tunes world. I actually do know the original cartoon, but I mainly knew it growing up through Tiny Toons. But it's basically like anything strange and weird could happen. It's very surreal. I think they made like Dali jokes in it and stuff in the Tiny Toons or the original. And that is kind of perfect for what this is, because I think how this really works is being weird and strange and wacky and stuff like that. And it sort of works with what we have with the design, because if you look at the design of Daffy, he looks like Daffy Duck, but it sort of doesn't. He looks like his own unique, weird, kind of homemade thing, which I think stop motion works better if you get the sense that it's made by a weird, strange person rather than, unlike most animation, unlike I think the 2D stuff, which obviously, you know, on model and off model and stuff, but this feels like a real living kind of strange creature, and the dodo just works perfect in that thing. And I think Wacky World, you're able to do so many different sets and designs and stuff. I mean, there's one part where they're in Wacky World or Wackyland, and like the shots keep changing, like from like every word and every move, and it was like totally weird and bizarre, but it opened up this cool world. And I think one of the things I like about Looney Tunes specifically is it can just go into the surreal randomly, and it feels like at peace with everything else going on. And that looseness to the animation, I think, really, really works in this. Like, they do so many different things, they do so many different gags for it. It's really a visual delight and a visual feast to watch. And it was probably one of my more favorite, and I really do love these the newer Looney Tune shorts, but this one really stands out a lot. And I think I would actually love to see it on the big screen, because it has such great movement to it, and it just keeps changing and moving, and I don't think it makes any fucking sense, but like that's sort of the point. It's like it feels like a grab bag of animation styles, but sometimes it's like I do like jam animation cartoons quite a bit, and I think this is a kind of like a jam stop motion thing. It was done by Rat Bat Studios, which is the studio that Max Winston works for. It's a total delight. I wish more people were talking about it. I wish this got the publicity that the Donald Duck short, which was honestly not very good at all, got, because it is really out there and really strange. I hope it actually gets a nomination or something. I really felt fondly about it. I think it really worked with Daffy Duck. I hope they do more. If they did a short like this every year, I'd be really happy with it. It's totally like, you know, also if like you like weird surreal cartoons, or like getting high with a cartoon or something, this would be the exact great one. It works so well in that, but it's also like I could watch it with my daughter, and we watch it and she was like, whoa, that was weird. And like, but it has a great ending to it. It really flows as like a good chase while also being surreal. It's like kind of, I think, what I liked about animation, where you can be experimental, you can be odd, you can have a great chase sequence and then like say absolutely nothing, but you feel like you experienced something. It was really wonderful and really great, and I think highlights the beauty and the openness of animation, and particularly stop motion animation. And probably I don't know, stop motion is always having an interesting time, but this is really cool. And I think Rat Bat Studios and Max Winston and Pete Brownguard did a great job putting this together. I think it is one of the real standouts, not just because of in stop motion, because not just because of the stop motion, because it was able to really understand what a good Donald Duck short is. And a lot of the I don't know if there were too many solo Donald Duck stuff. It was always Donald and Porky. This felt like a really great solo Donald cartoon. It, much like the other Looney Tunes stuff of this era, it feels like it is the exact place Looney Tunes need to be, and I really loved what they did with this. So anyway, all right. So if you're moving on, all right, I'm gonna drink some of this energy drink for this thing. Give me some energy to do this. There's still some in there. If anyone wants to do to e-beg or anything. So if you live in New York, on Sunday, they put up a dragon on the top of the Empire State Building to promote House of the Dragons. Like my wife said at the time, like, look, there's something up there, and I said, no, ignore that, we're going somewhere, and I was stupid about it, but there was something up there. And it's kind of the first time I know they project stuff on the Empire State Building. They make it certain colors to commemorate stuff. Wait, is Rat? No, he said it was his studio. I didn't know it was in the interview. He didn't say. Oh, really? Okay, apparently Ratbat Studios is just one person. That's interesting. Anyway, so they sometimes project stuff to different colors, but it reminded me of a balloon. They had an inflatable dragon up there. I don't know if it's still up there, but it's been up there for a while. But it reminded me of a time, and this is a fascination of mine. It reminded me of a time in April of 1983 to commemorate the 50th anniversary of King Kong. The owners of the Empire State Building literally put up a inflatable replica of King Kong up on the Empire State Building. If you can look at the pictures, when I make this a thing, there'll be pictures there. So if I'm referring to stuff, I apologize. But if you looking at the pictures, you can see it literally looks like King Kong on the Empire State Building. Now, so if you looked from a distance, it literally looked like, and I've heard this from people who lived there at the time, they're like, it was cool because you look at the Empire State Building and go, holy shit, there's King Kong. Like in the movie, King Kong. So he was up there, but apparently it was like not done in the greatest way. Like the inflatable balloon, they had to figure out a way to get him up through the elevators and blow him up, and that was a disaster. And it sort of wasn't the safest, so he wasn't even up there for very long because it kept springing a leak and stuff. But apparently, I keep reading that they did have planes fly around the Empire State Building. So if you saw that, it literally looked like the end of King Kong. I don't know, like they actually had biplanes like in the end of King Kong, which I think is really cool. It didn't last very long. Almost everyone I know who I've met who lived in New York at the time always speaks about it fondly. It sounds amazing. I missed it by a few months because I wasn't born and didn't live in the city then. But I guess my mom was pregnant with me then, so I had that going for me. I think, I don't know. When I heard about the dragon thing, I could barely see it. They really had it strapped down, and if you look at the pictures of King Kong, it looks a little less safe. I still wish they put up a King Kong now and then, like for Kong vs. Godzilla and stuff like that. I think that would have been cooler. It's just such a cool little piece of pop culture in New York history, and the idea that King Kong, for only a few days, was actually on the Empire State Building. There is one photo that people remark on that I think is really cool, where you see King Kong's face and you see behind him the World Trade Center. Everyone brings up something about 9/11 and stuff like that. What really is going on, this was done in 83. The 70s remake of King Kong had come out not too long before, and in that, he climbs the World Trade Center. So it was sort of a way to recognize both the original and the remake. That is actually what's going on in that photo, but I understand that the World Trade Center represents something else to everyone else. So that is sort of the history of the time that King Kong was actually on the Empire State Building, and that is way cooler than some dumb thing for House of the Dragons, and they should definitely bring King Kong back, because I think that sounds, that would be really cool. I think it's really cool, and I wish I got to see it in my lifetime, but unfortunately, we don't get to see, unfortunately, it doesn't sound like we'll ever get to see King Kong be on the Empire State Building again, but it was nice that for a few days in April of 1983, he actually did. That might be too long to be a TikTok, but maybe I'll just make it a separate video. Anyway, I've always kind of wanted to make a thing about that, so that's my thing. Supposedly it was made to keep the building in the public eye, but I just think of it as a cool King Kong thing. All right. Sorry, I hope that was interesting. I just really wanted to make this video about it, so that's why. All right. Let's do questions. I'm going to write questions below. Questions below. So if you have questions, I'm going to read the 3 Patreon questions. I guess in order here. Nathaniel Fogus says, should parody films ever make a comeback? I think they sort of are, and I think, yes, they could. I just think you have to be sort of close, but not too close, I guess, to the original things. Sidram asks, perhaps you're not fond of music biopics, nevertheless, is there a particular musician who you feel deserves a dramatization of their life, or at the very least an in-depth documentary like Nothing Compares? And I looked up what Nothing Compares was, and I forgot what that was. I don't think it's Sinead O'Connor. To be honest, I feel like I've answered this question before, but my current one that I think would be cool, is it Nothing? I guess it is. Is I do think there should be a movie about when Rakim came to hip hop and literally changed how people rap. I think that would be a great biopic. It would just be about that era. We don't need to go through like his whole life and solo career and all that stuff. I wouldn't mind also one about Houdini and their rise, or like one of the great hip hop tours when you had all these groups together. I actually think you could make a show out of LL Cool J and go from basically the whole story of him at Def Jam and end it with him sort of just becoming an actor, or just do him like in the 80s. Like I think that would actually be really interesting. Non-rap people, I think you could either do television, you could do I don't know. I don't want them to do Lauryn Hill or something like that. I think it's a hard thing to do because it comes out cheesy, and I think it probably works better if you pick a particular era. Like, I don't want another Sex Pistols thing. I think you could probably do The Clash if you picked an era and not the whole thing. Or, you know what? I wouldn't mind an Ozzy and Randy Rhoads movie. If you ever did an Ozzy movie, I would just do Ozzy and Randy Rhoads. You wouldn't even, like, Zakk Wylde would show up at the end or something. If you guys know what that means. I guess that'd be my only ones. Because I can't think of people, like, I think it would be someone, but my current one is, like, if I was going to make a music biopic, I was, like, a director or something, I would be casting, like, the Rakim thing and, like, writing it and, like, coming up with, like, that, because I think that is a part of, like, music history. Like, that's how we went from, like, people following the beat to rapping against the beat is Rakim. So I think that would honestly make the most sense if we're really thinking about it. Maybe the Pixies, maybe not Nirvana, something like that. I wouldn't mind us Smashing Pumpkins one, but some of them I think would be better as limited series. I know they're always talking about, like, a Rumors movie, which I think that could work if you just did Rumors. Stuff like that. Anyway, Austin says, of course, happy Friday, and what a great show tonight. What a great show you had tonight. As you read this question, post on your Patreon, last as you usually do. Also, good news, the DVD came. It's not as cool as the Dark City DVD. I mean, what, maybe a Gods of Egypt DVD, but Gary can't have any of our DVDs no matter how he falls upwards. Anyway, my question, if you could see any movies from summer of 84, which would you go see? I might rewatch Beverly Hills Cop, so maybe that answers that question. Part of me wants to say Search for Spock. Let me look up, movies of the summer of 1984. Okay, what do we have here? Before Stonewall. I don't think, is that an 84 movie? No, it is. And it's on Tubi. I guess I have Supergirl, Meatballs 2. Wow. It's really not... Oh, okay, here we go. Once I scroll down, this is the weirdest Google search because it's like all the shitty stuff's there. Karate Kid would be fun. Red Dawn, Cloak and Dagger. Oh, Purple Rain. Ooh. Looking at this Google list, and I guess Star Trek 3 would be in consideration because I did do that. I would have to say it'd be Last Starfighter, Karate Kid, or Beverly Hills Cop. Purple Rain would be fun. just going to go Purple Rain, because I can go wrong with Purple Rain. Anyway, okay. The biggest summer? Wink Wink? Oh, is that because Inner Space is in that? I'm curious why. I'm confused by Sinram's phrasing, but I feel like it's an obvious thing that I just didn't get because I'm tired. Okay, Zane Powers, did you see the new Defunctland video? What would you want to take? Would you want to take your children there? I haven't watched all of it. Maybe I think they would get a kick out of it. I was like, yeah, kids would like that shit. Kids love like emulating grown up stuff, which I'm always like, man, I'm a grown up. I don't want to do grown up shit. Like, that's the thing that sucks about when you're a kid. It's like you're like freed from the reins of capitalism for a little bit, and like how much you want to be like in that machine is sad. Cornbread question: You hear they're bringing back the old X-Men vs Street Fighter games. What's 2 X-Men characters and even 2 Street Fighter characters, if you can remember any, you'd like in the games? I didn't play it that much, and I was definitely confused how that made any sense at the time. I think I just played Wolverine and Cyclops at the time. Maybe Ryu and Bulka, is that right? Or who's the green guy with the red hair? I played him a lot. Anyway. Zane Powers, thoughts on the St. Elmo's Fire sequel news? Sorry, I did run out of time, but I'll just do what I was going to say here, is that I think the Brat Pack is not in the greatest space after that Andrew McCarthy doc, which I haven't seen, but sounds a little pathetic. And I think they shouldn't do it. It's actually the only Brat Pack movie I haven't seen. I think I've seen all the John Hughes stuff. It's kind of like the most major one that's not a John Hughes movie. I think it's a bad idea because I just think like everyone who was a teen when the Brat Pack stuff happened, which I was not, is getting older, and I think the perception of a lot of that stuff is, I think Ferris Bueller will live on, and The Breakfast Club will live on with teenagers, but I think the rest of it, it's like the obsession with it is definitely kind of waning. And it seems like I'm getting the impression people are sort of want to break from it. So I don't necessarily think, I think it's a bad idea. And Joel Schumacher's dead, who directed it. So I just think it's a bad idea. So I'm sure people will still like the Bratz thing. And I don't know. I was sort of interested in the idea, but the doc, but everyone who talked to me about it didn't like it and seemed to think it was like this guy's obsession over this article, which is like, I totally like the guy who will like go into the origins of something and read that article. So if I ever did a video on the Brat Pack, which I wouldn't do, I would have read that article. But to be totally honest with you, like I didn't know about that article until a couple of years ago. I just knew they were the Brat Pack. So like getting obsessed with this fucking article doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense, but whatever. I haven't seen it, so I don't know. Sorry. Super Dusky, should they make a Harambe climbing a stairway to heaven for the 10-year anniversary? Sure. Cornbread, have any good sandwiches lately? Take any photos of any good sandwiches lately? I have taken some, and what I need to do at some point is edit. I haven't edited it at all, and get all my photos of the sandwiches I have, which I've been sort of taking loosey-goosey, and put those in there. And I want to put Edie and Divine eating sandwiches in polyester in there. And that's all of my ideas. But I need to get it all concentrated into one thing. But I have been sort of working on it, but then I'll forget, and then I'll start, and like it's a mess. Not plausible. If not for movies and TV, what kind of YouTube channel would you have instead? Nothing. Like I would probably make like more shorts and like more like the journal stuff, which if I had the time I would make if I ever made a second channel, it would be that. But like I would probably make more shorts and like stuff with music and things like that. Have you seen any of the Friedberg and Schweitzer parody movies, and how much did you want to die seeing them? I saw the one, whatever was in my bad movies one that was considered the worst one, and I forget, there's a Lion, the Witch, the Wardrobe parody, and like the girl from Paul Blart was in it, and I forget what that one was called. And the Chipmunks were in it. I watched that, and it was pretty horrible. It was not good. That's the only one I've really seen. I think I've watched some of it, and I think I watched their Scary Movie or something. Anyway. Black Saxon Winkle. Remember the chocolate Pringle-looking Swoops candy? I do. Sorry, that's it. Zane Powers, what celebrity has the most obnoxious frat boy douchebag energy? Probably the Paul brothers. Like, I just don't give a fuck about either of those guys. Like, I just, like, don't get how people... No, I'm sorry. Them and Ashton Kutcher. I do not get him either. Like, I sort of understood, like, when Hollywood and the ratings and the money was sort of in his favor. I'm like, look, I follow the business side a bit, and I'm like, I can, like, all right, there's a draw, so you got to do stuff. But it, like, went away so quickly, and we still hear about his fucking ass. And I'm like, for what reason? Like, he's not even that interesting. Like, I just don't get... I've never got the obsession with that guy. Like, past 2000 and, like, whenever Punk'd ended, why I have to hear about him at all ever makes no sense to me. I'd never gotten that. Like, what a forgettable person. You can tell someone is not interesting if they have to constantly, when they're talking about how they're interesting. That is like the biggest tell of all. If they act like everything is easy for them and they bring up ways that they are interesting, life is, it's all a sham. Whether they know it or not, it is all a fucking lie. And he's barely a person. Anyway, Cornbread, since the Empire State Building inflatable advertisers are back on the menu, what else do you want to see them put up there? It's just King Kong. Maybe Godzilla and King Kong, but anything that's not that, don't care. I think Godzilla should be up there all the time. Embla T, are video essays art? I think criticism is art, so I think video essays can be art. I think what Defunctland did with the Jim Henson thing would be art. I would say also Defunctland's been doing a few of those. I'd be kind of rewind. I think there are, I'm not going to praise my own shit, but I because that's lame. But yeah, best donut at Dunkin', Boston cream all the way. I'm doing that. Bloxy. Nathaniel Foga, what do you consider the most unnecessary sequel ever? All the Jaws ones. I recently learned there's a de facto Jaws 5, which is interesting to me. Is this going to be the longest stream ever? I think we might actually do it again by accident. Dream remake of a live action property. Oh, of a live action property in animation. I've always thought they should do a major classic like The Godfather or something and make it more surreal. But yeah, like I wouldn't like them to do a big classic, but if you're gonna take a live action film, maybe like even you could do Elevator the Gallows and do each different storyline in a different animation style. If you ever know Elevator's Gallows, Miles Davis did the score. It's great. Zane Powers, I didn't get a clear answer, so asking again, when you review something and thinks it sucks, is it better or worse to come up with ways to make the material work and get across the intent? I think the paramount thing with any review is that you express your experience with it. You can talk about how maybe they succeeded artistically, but if it sucks, it's if it stinks, it stinks. If you feel it only worked okay, that's, even if you think that's their intent, that's part of it. So I think I think I've talked about this before, but I just think if the intent, if you can hate it and go consider the intent and think about the intent and have problems wrestling with that, but at the same time, I think artistic intent can only get you so far. It's the actual work overall and your opinion of it. I think when people bring in intent to sort of overvalue that, your experience is you, and your experience is always valid. The artistic intent is valid to them, and artistically maybe valid to a degree, but it's not valid. It can be overrun. It should be, your experience should be considered the most important thing. So, Cornbread, watch Ultraman Rising right before joining here. You think you'll check that out at any point? I would like to, but it's more of a time thing. Any videos you've been enjoying? The Be Kind Rewind on Eartha Kitt was great. And I like the guy, whoever the TikTok guy who's like, I don't even know his name, but I watched so many of them, where he did the one explaining the Kendrick Lamar Drake beef, and he's like, we got a problem. But this guy had a problem. I don't know his name, but he always says, this guy got a problem. I like that guy. That guy's been cool. What kind of pop culture thing deserves some sort of resurgence? I feel like everything does. So like, I wouldn't mind if 12 Ounce Master Space Ghost got kind of a, that would be cool. M Blood T. I saw the Bike Riders last night and didn't get the Nosferatu trailer and got a Deadpool 3 trailer instead. Should I sue? I also wore an Akira shirt during it. Good for you. Yeah, you should sue. You should definitely sue. M Blood T. Do you know James Ralph? Nope, never met him. Question. Family, friendship, religion. Are these the demons you must slay to succeed in the world of art? I mean, sorta. Okay. Hold on. Question. So based on both X-Men 97 and Smiling Friends, it seems very situational which shows you'll actually cover weekly. Would you mind sharing a thought process behind what decides that? That's a good question. X-Men, I think I was just so excited about and I wanted to do that. The only thing that holds me back like Superman is because I watch it with Sophie and sometimes it takes a minute to watch it and so it wouldn't work. It's sort of just like what I kind of want to watch. I probably should have been doing more Rick and Morty at some points if I wanted views and stuff, but it's more just like what I can fit in and what I'm into and stuff. And this show thing is sort of more random, unfortunately. I was thinking the other day, like, it doesn't make any sense what I'm doing, but I will have a review of season 2. I know season 2 is ending. I am going to do a review of that. And but I also, the thing with the season things is I like to rewatch it and recontextualize and really dive in, and that takes a minute. So it takes a while, but yeah, it's really sort of, after I do Smiling Friends and Superman, I might do Batman, but it's sort of like how I'm feeling about it. If people like the reactions, those are all things I consider. But if there is a show you're like, could you try it out? I'm not against doing a reaction because those are really quick, but a season thing is like a major investment. So I don't know. I will say it doesn't make sense how I do the shows. It really doesn't, and I'm sorry. But it's kind of more like timing and all that. Nathaniel Foga, do you think Don't Fear the Reaper and Pet Sematary sound similar with how they open the songs? Yeah, a little bit. Zane Powers, was there ever a movie critic you followed that was the super embodiment of that stuffy 97-year-old white guy stereotype? Maybe Kenneth Turan, I'd say. I followed him for a little bit. Okay. Zane Powers, what's the Brad Pack? It's like an 80s thing. Brad Pack versus Rat Pack. Rat Pack all the way. If Incredibles 2 or Finding Dory came out today and you took your kids to it, do you think you'd be saying, it's a good kids film instead of saying they suck like a real man does? No, I would. I've watched those with my kids and I hate them, but sometimes with Incredibles 2 it'll trick me because at the beginning I'm like, I don't know, this sequence is cool, and they did a good job plotting that out, and then it'll get to like the end where they're all zombies and I'm like, nah, fuck this. Okay. No, I'm not going to make... this is the last question. Zane Powers. Will you buy the Epic Funko Pops for Switch that includes... No, I will not get all those. I would like some more Jaws merch, but, I got kids and I got to save money. Anyway, we did maybe the longest stream? I don't know. I will update you later. Oh, I think it is. I think it might be. Anyway, thank you for being here. I'm sorry this went on so long. I believe I will be back on Wednesday. I believe an Inside Out 2 review will be out tomorrow. Who knows if either of those things will happen, but I will try. So I want to thank you all for being here. I'm sorry I kept moving it around and stuff. I forgot to apologize for that earlier. Thank you for being such a cool audience. I don't think Paul Blart hates me, but thank you, MBLT. But sorry this did go long. It was a longer episode, but I hope that's a good thing. I will hopefully have the timestamp soon. You all have a good night. Have a good weekend. You guys are all cool. I really appreciate you. Thank you to... Let's go through the Super Chat list. Thank you to Zane Powers, Sinram, Nathaniel Foga, Austin, Bloxy, Oxenwinkle for the Super Chat. Sorry to... Bloxy that YouTube was being stupid. Apologies for that. Thank you for getting it through anyway, all of you have a great weekend. Have a nice time. I think there'll be a new video soon. I hope you liked everything that came out. I hope you liked the show, and take care of yourselves. Tell someone you appreciate the people around you, and have a good night. And I will see you all next time. Subscribe if you like to, and goodbye.